Hey YouTube, what's up? This is Ben from shouldiget.com. I'm here with Clyde, who owns this beautiful white BMW M4. We have a lot of questions to talk about, so we're going to get started. Clyde, go ahead and introduce yourself and your channel and kind of how we met, if you want.
All right, yeah. So basically, I'm Clyde. I run a channel called Power Up. Some of you guys might follow me on Instagram as well as Power Up. So yeah, basically, Ben and I met through a comment on fucking Vehicle Virgins, on one of Parker's video. And so basically he noticed that I was in the Bay Area, and so he just hit me up and decided to, you know, we should do a collab video together. And so here we are, getting ready to drive the M4.
Yeah, so if you want, we'll get started driving.
All right.
And I'll start asking the questions. We have 16 questions that I came up with, and that come from a lot of questions that Clyde gets on the regular. And then some Facebook questions. So first thing is, what's the exhaust sound like, and do you like it?
So I would define the exhaust as sounding weird. I think actually Chris Harris said that that the exhaust doesn't sound bad, it sounds weird. So the thing with the exhaust is, while you're in the cabin, it's not loud enough. You don't hear enough exhaust in the cabin, which is why BMW did the active sound design, where you have basically exhaust noise pumping through the speakers. So I actually turned that off, and I kind of regret it. I mean, I like that I have all real sound, but I kind of regret it because the sound is not as loud. Then two, there's that loud like fart noise that the M4s make. I'm sure like a lot of people have heard that before. It's like the loud brap. So like you learn to love that. So like at first it's like, what the fuck, why is my car farting? But like now that I've done it a few times and I kind of know how to do it, it's fun. So I like doing it. And then I think also third, and when I appreciate the exhaust most is when someone else is driving my car, or an M4 drives by, or like just drives off. Like it sounds much better from the exterior when you're hearing it like running through the gears than when you're when you're actually inside the car.
Yeah. Speaking of which, so your tips are different than stock.
Yeah.
It's all stock exhaust, right? And then what mods do you have done?
So the tips are stock. Well, the only thing I've done to exhaust, so it's full stock exhaust, I forced the valve open. So that was like one of the huge game changers for the exhaust, is to leave them open at all time. That way you don't have to hear them closing and opening, which sounds horrible. It's like a screeching sound. But so other than that, I think the biggest exhaust I've done was the JB4 tune. So did the stage 2 JB4. I've done cosmetic stuff. I've done the carbon fiber front splitters and performance lip, carbon fiber diffuser. I think visually I also did the tint, 30% tint all around. What else have I done? I always forget like the mods I've done on this car. I should have wrote that down.
Okay. So I'm sure someone will comment what you missed.
Yeah. So just really minor stuff. Nothing too crazy. It's basically kind of like stock plus, really.
Yeah. Which cars were you thinking of when you had this, or when you didn't have this? What were you thinking of getting? Was it like M4 versus M3, or like M4 versus like an AMG car? Was there anything else on your mind, or were you just like, I want M4?
So it started off, I wanted a 435i to begin with, because I had a friend who had a 335i, and he told me all these stories of N54s and JB4s and being much faster than an M3 and stuff. So he basically sold me on that. And so I wanted a 335 really bad, but then I noticed the 435i was coming out, and the 435i just, it sounded cool, and then it had heads-up display, which is like a feature that I love on this car. And so basically I was like waiting for the 435i, waiting, and then it's funny because I was actually dating this girl at this time, and she was telling me that 435i is cool, but I'd rather have an M3. And I was like, M3, that's like a big baller car, that costs a lot of money. But then I looked it up, and I saw that used I could get an E92 M3 for the same price as a 435i. So then I kind of started thinking, I kind of started getting tired of waiting for the 435i. so I went and test drove an M3, and I was sold. Like, I was like, wow, this is like in a league of its own. It doesn't even compare to like a 335 or anything out there. Yeah. So I just knew I had to get an M car. And so I was looking at getting an M3, the E92 M3 for a while, but the dealers were just asking way too much money for it because they were playing it's the last V8 game, and so they just weren't willing to come down on pricing. And so I basically, like, it came down to me just deciding, you know what, I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna get an M4. I'm gonna get the car that I really want. As basically, it's a turbo car. It's gonna be much faster. It's gonna have all the, the technology stuff that I love. So just gonna work on that.
Yeah. All right. So pretty good choice going from a 435 E92 to an M4.
Yeah.
And then you went with the manual, but you're telling me earlier DCT might be the way to go. So if you were to rebuy the car, would you get a manual again, or would you go DCT?
So if I were to get another M4, I would get a DCT. Hold on, let's pass this guy up.
This is so fun in township like that.
Yeah, I love it.
And so you'd get a DCT instead of that?
If I were to get another car, I would get a DCT. But if I were to get the same car again, if I were to go back in time, I would still get the manual. Okay. Because I feel like that every car enthusiast has to have a manual car. You know what I mean? Yeah. You can't be really a car enthusiast if you've never driven a 3-pedal car. So now that I've done that, I think I'm ready to move on to DCT. And just because, not every DCT, of course, but BMW and Porsche dual clutches are just so good. Yeah. Like, the shifts are like instantaneous, and you just get like they feel good. And driving a dual clutch does not take any of the driving pleasure out of it for me. Yeah. Of course, I'd be driving it like in manual mode all the time. But yeah, I think DCT, my next car will definitely be a DCT. And then I've seen it, like a DCT car racing other cars and what it can do, and it was pretty damn impressive.
All right, so once you knew you wanted the M4, I know you did a eurodelivery. So how long was the wait for that? If you don't mind, how much did the car cost, and why did you spec it with the white exterior and black interior? Did you get to choose?
I got to choose everything. So I spec'd the car white on black, because that was like always the dream M3 for me. So like when I really like looked at the E92 M3s, the ones that wowed me the most were the white on black ones with the carbon fiber roof. Like that was just, and with the carbon fiber splitters. Yeah. That was like always like the dream M3 to me. So I went with that because not only I liked it a lot in the M3, but I didn't really get to see the car before I placed my order. I was one of the first people to get an M4, and so I just, kind of had to go blind, and white is the safest choice you can make, you know what I mean? Yeah. And it also is a no-cost option. Nice Phoenix Yellow E46. Then the options I kind of picked were like the necessary options, I feel. So I picked the executive package because I wanted heads-up display, I wanted the rear backup camera, I wanted to get leather. Yeah. So executive package was a no-brainer. The wheels were a no-brainer as well. Because like they just look so much better, and it's a $1,200 upgrade from the stock 18s, and if I were to go aftermarket, I would be paying a lot more for some aftermarket wheels. And then the adaptive suspension, I felt like that was a must-have, because not only is it cool to go stiffer and softer depending on how you're driving, but then you'd have like this button missing, like this button will be like blank like in the middle of these 3 buttons, so had to get that done.
Yeah. And then, and so how long did it take from, putting in your deposit to actually getting to Germany to pick it up?
So that was kind of standard from putting, basically, so like I said, I was one of the first people to get it. So like when allocations first came out, I think I got my build like in May, and then before May. I got my allocation in like April, and then got everything like finalized in June. So it took about 6 weeks for the car to be built. Yeah. And so that was like one waiting period. Yeah. And so that was bad, but the worst of all is waiting for your car to get back from Europe. That was terrible. terrible, dude. Because like I drove it in Europe, I drove it on the Nürburgring, I drove it everywhere, right?
Yeah.
And then basically you go home and then you're driving whatever car you had. So for me, I was back in my 528i, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then every day you're going to work and everybody's like, dude, where's your M4? Where's your M4? I'm like, it's not here yet. And so yeah, I had to wait 9 weeks to get my car back to me.
Wow.
Yeah, that was brutal. Usually it takes about 7 weeks on average to get it back to California. But yeah, 9 weeks was like really bad.
And then it's like once it comes stateside, they still have to do the inspection and stuff here.
Yeah, so that was the thing. So it got to the port, and then they were holding my car at the vehicle distribution center for like a really long time, and so that took like an extra week or two, I believe.
Oh,
but they would have kept it longer.
Yeah.
But luckily, my friend Ricardo, he knew somebody at BMW, and basically, I contacted this guy, and he was like, "Your car is getting like your car is on its way tomorrow."
All right. How many people can you actually fit in this car, and how much luggage can you fit?
You could fit 4 people. Would I take 4 people on a 12-hour road trip? I don't know. But you could go down to LA and back.
Really?
No problem. Yeah, I'd probably do like 2 stops. But yeah, it'll be all right in the back. I mean, I fit okay back there. You know what I mean? I'm not like 7 Series.
Yeah.
Like status or whatever, but it's okay back there.
Yeah. And how tall are you?
I'm 6'2".
And you fit in the back of it?
Yeah, I fit in the back. I'm a little tight.
Okay.
So the problem really is like the headroom, right? Like the roof is kind of like touching my head. But otherwise it's not too bad.
Cool. All right. So you did eurodelivery. Why do you have German plates still on? You've had the car for 2 years in the States, right?
So I took basically I had the US plates on top of the German plates for like a really long time. And then like went down to Beamerfest, and then we were doing like photo shoots the whole time and stuff. And so I took the US plates off. I just never put them back on.
All right. So you talked about your delivery. How often do you wash the car?
So that all depends, really. I would say on average about every 3 weeks at this point now. But then like if it rains and then I'm gonna go to a car meet, then I will wash it at that time.
Yeah.
So yeah, it all depends, but usually about every 3 weeks. It sucks because now I have to go to like a coin op spot and then like wash it myself, so it's not as convenient as when I used to just be able to wash it at my house.
Yeah. Okay. So your daily driver is this car, right?
Yep.
Is that reliable?
Yeah.
Or would you rather have this for the weekends and get yourself like a Camry for an everyday car?
So my commute isn't that bad. If I had a bad commute, I would probably get an i3. Okay. And I guess drive this like 3 times a week or something. Mm-hmm. See, the thing is that these cars are made to be daily driven. So if I want like a weekend only car, I would get something that's more of a sports car, that's less practical. So I would look to get like a Cayman GT4 or like, some car that you can't daily drive. Yeah. But these cars are meant to be driven. That's why I know people that have like, a commuter car in this car, and they'll still drive this to the office like, twice a week because they want to be, in this car. Yeah. It's super comfortable. Reliability wise, I haven't had any problems except for the stupid heat shields. So I made this video on my channel about the worst thing about owning an M4 is basically getting rocks stuck in a heat shield. I had these rocks stuck in a heat shield for like 2 weeks, and it was just making this horrible screeching noise like everywhere I went. And so I took it to the dealer, and now they have upgraded heat shields. So I've been fine ever since.
Nice. What's the mileage that you're getting out of the car?
So if I wanted, I could get maybe 23 miles per gallon average, daily driving and stuff. But I like to drive fast, so I get about 20 miles per gallon average.
That's not bad, actually.
It's
during
really
a spirited drive.
Yeah. So during a spirited drive, I would definitely get like maybe 12 miles per gallon.
Oh, okay.
But actually on track, I get 8 miles per gallon on track. Wow. But on average, so like spirited drives, commutes, and then sometimes I drive fast on the freeway. I'm getting about between 20 and 21 miles to the gallon. If I drive to LA and I keep it at 80 I'll get 26 miles per gallon.
Nice.
Yeah, so it's really cool. I mean, I'm satisfied with the fuel consumption of this car.
Yeah, that's good. All right, next question. What's the interior feel like? What do you think of the entertainment system? I'm gonna put in my 2 cents. I'm a huge fan of BMW iDrive. My dad has a 428i M Sport.
Nice.
So it's a really comfortable to use system, and I mean the interior, it doesn't feel cheap. Like it's not.
Yeah.
You know, like it's definitely a step up from like the Focus RS and like even the Mini Cooper S that I have. That feels pretty nice inside, but this feels like it doesn't feel like buttons are gonna fall off.
Yeah, no, I love this interior. To me, this is like, I don't know, one of the better interiors on cars. I think that, I know Porsches, probably the buttons have a better feel and stuff, but Porsches don't have, you know, heads-up displays and some of the technology features that BMW has. I love this carbon fiber interior. I don't even have the full leather. Like you see, this is like plastic right here. Yeah. And it doesn't bother me at all. I don't mind this plastic at all. Full leather would be better, but then for $2,500, I don't know. Yeah. No, I love the button feels. The ergonomics on this car are like top notch, really. Yeah. I love how like you could save commands on these buttons and stuff. Yeah, I really like this interior, really satisfied with it.
And the steering wheel too, right?
Yeah.
It's a really nice grip on the M Sport.
Yeah, the steering wheel is really cool. Everything, all the controls are from the steering wheel. You know, being able to save your settings with the M1 and M2 button, that's like really clutch. Yeah, no complaints about the interior whatsoever.
All right, speaking of complaints though, what are the few most annoying things other than the heat shield?
So I would say probably, I don't know if I would say the manual, and so this is part of the reason why I would get DCT over manual. One, the shift from first to second, I mean, you saw it earlier, right? There's like this huge like notchy feeling. It feels like you have to like basically drive through a wall to get your car into like second gear. Yeah. And so, you know, you get used to it over time and you don't feel it as much. But it's kind of annoying if you're trying to get like a fast start off, or like you're trying to race somebody or something. And then also the fact that you can't switch on or off the auto rev match feature. Yeah. The only way to switch off the auto rev match feature is to go into the sports plus throttle setting, which is kind of redundant, right? Yeah. Because if I want to go as fast as possible, then yeah, I want the auto rev match, you know what I mean? But then if I want to learn how to, you know, heel toe or whatever, I want to be on the softest setting possible. Yeah. So because of that, I haven't really like bothered to learn how to heel toe or whatever. And I very seldom drive in a Sports Plus mode because I'm so used to rev matching. And so I feel like I'm being robbed of this part of the car, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that true manual experience.
Exactly, yeah.
All right. If, you know, you had endless amounts of money, what else would you want on the car?
I would do a full exhaust. I would probably do dowmpipes, AA mid pipes. The AA mid pipes is a single mid pipe piece, and so that's really good because it helps give the exhaust sound more bass. I would probably do just like a whole bunch of cosmetic stuff, but I mean, really, there aren't really too many things other than that. I mean, I would love to keep modding this car. It's just, you know, for the money and the value for the money isn't really there, you know? The car already comes with a lot of stuff. One thing I would do is probably get upgraded brakes. I'd love to have Brembos on this car or any type of ceramics. Because, well, actually, I take that back. Since brakes are free in my maintenance program, I'm fine with the steels. But I do experience like brake fade after driving some time, and also just vibration in the brakes. I've gone through a set of rotors after I think about 10,000 miles, and that was after full track day at Spa and then a lap at the Nürburgring. But yeah, some upgraded brakes will be cool.
Gotcha. All right, right now we're gonna get to Facebook questions. Cool. So I had a couple people comment. We're just gonna do like pretty quick answers. Kind of fire off. So James asked, would you take it over an E92 if they were the same price? E92 M3 or the M4?
Yeah. Would I take the M4 over the E92?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would pay more money for the M4 over the E92 M3.
Okay.
For sure.
Easy. Robert asks, would you say it's better than M2, especially considering the price point and what many consider inferior driving experience?
Oh, that's a good question. So here's the deal with the M2. It's a really cool car, right? I think it's a really dope car. If I were to go back in time, I would probably get an M2.
Okay.
But now that I've driven an M4 and I'm used to this interior, and I'm used to like some of the features, like having, you know, the button stayed on the steering wheel, the heads-up display and stuff, it would be really hard to let go of that. And then not only that, but the problem with the M2 is that I'm not fond of the colors they offer.
Yeah.
I don't really think they look that good. Also, the lease rates are terrible. Don't even think about leasing an M2, right? And then also the N55. So the car has the N55 engine. I mean, it's not just the N55. You know, they've done some stuff to it. I think I forgot, they have forged pistons from the M4 and then some other stuff. So, you know, it's a pretty tuned up N55, but it's maxed out. Yeah. You get no power off of that engine, off of a tune. And so the thing that's going to be interesting is that the M240i is about to come out soon, and that's going to have the new B series engines from BMW, and so that's going to have a much higher ceiling than the M2. So then you're going to have people with the M240i's, you know, talking shit about the M2, like, hey, my car's faster than yours. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that's a tough thing. And then also, you know, every time you meet someone, they're gonna be like, you know, I have an M2. I was like, oh, my cousin has one. They're like, oh, really? No, they have an M235i. They don't have the real, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because a lot of people with M235i's, they'll say, oh, I have an M2.
Yeah, because that came out.
Yeah, and right, exactly. But no, I think the M2 is a good car. It's just the whole package is kind of missing it for me. So yes, to answer your question, I would pick an M4 over M2.
All right, cool. Robert, hopefully you enjoyed that. Isaac says, do you feel like every other douche in the Bay Area who drives the 3 Series?
Absolutely. Nah, I don't know. I've seen some pretty bad 3 Series drivers. I think some of the worst drivers I've seen are actually the 328, like the E92 328 drivers. But otherwise, I think I get the stigma of being a douchebag BMW driver sometimes, especially when I'm driving fast. Yeah. But I do use my turn signals every time.
That was the question. Yusuke, that answers your question. He said, do these finally come with turn signals?
Yes, they do.
Wow. All right.
I should have went that way.
By the way, owns the E92 M3. Says, why does it sound like a hippopotamus farting into a red Solo Cup?
Because it has snails. Snails are like, turbos are the anti-sound good thing. Yeah. So basically, the guys at BMW, they decided, like, we have X amount of money. What are we going to do in the car? Are we going to make it lighter than the M3? Are we going to try to make it sound better than the M3? Or are we going to, you know, make a complete package? And they basically decided to spend their R&D on things other than sound. That's why you see a lot of, like, the ZCP cars have, like, the exhaust burble thing now. So they're trying to help it. But, I mean, the thing is that you're going from an E92 M3 to M4. The E92 M3 is like one of the best sounding cars out there. Like with an exhaust, like I remember hearing the car with like a Meisterschaft GT2 full exhaust on the track, and it was just like complete car porn. Like the car was like amazing the way it sounded. And so yeah, the E92 sounds better, but the M4 ticks all the other boxes except for steering. The E92 has the M4 on steering. You just can't beat hydraulic steering with electronic power steering. Yeah.
All right. Duke asks, what are those orange signal-like things used for on the side of the headlights and under the side mirrors? Those are the turn signals, and apparently the car does come with them, and they even get used in this car. So, you know, nice, slightly used turn signals.
Wait, is he talking about the reflectors or the on the mirrors?
He said, what are those orange signal-like things used for on the side of the headlights and under the side mirrors? Under the side mirrors. Does it have blind spot?
Yeah, I think he's talking about the reflectors.
No, knowing Duke, he's talking about.
Oh, okay.
And then 2 more ridiculous questions. Yasmin says, how much is the blinker fluid for these new models? You probably don't know, it's included with the lease, right? So a couple $100 a month.
Yeah, exactly.
And Matt asks, will it blend? And so I'll have to find a clip from another YouTube video to see if the car blends. But that's it. I think we're good. Hopefully you guys enjoyed and are still watching. This is like a really long video at 25 minutes. But if you're looking to get an M4, leave a comment down below if you have any questions. I'm sure Clyde will be more than happy to answer those.
Yeah, I'll answer.
Hit him up on Instagram DM. Make sure to follow us both. And we'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks so much for watching.
All right, see you guys.